So I finally beaten the Withering Garden difficulty 11. Honestly speaking, it was pretty fun, but in the same time, this is definitely the hardest content we have in the game right now, even more so than shield defense. And for today's video, I'll be sharing some tips I have learned through my runs that I did in the past couple days. Now, of course, if you haven't reached account level 50 and didn't get your character level 60 yet, you do not have to rush this. In fact, I do not recommend anyone attempting difficulty 11 before getting at least your main DPS to level 60 and equipped with decent drive discs. The rewards for clearing difficulty 11 is one-time thing, so there really is no rush to it. With that being said, let's get started with the video. Let's start with the most important things for Holo 0, the Resonance. For the raid up Resonance you get to pick at the beginning, I highly recommend, if you want to have an easier time to go through difficulty 11, pick up the shield set. This is hands down the best set to look for in difficulty 11, and if the choice is not there, just reset the run until it shows up. Now for research selection, I end up finding Gear Coin plus 20% the best choice for buff, as it allows you to purchase more Resonance from the shops. And HP cannot exceed 80% is the best choice for the debuff, as it doesn't actually change much overall. Once you are on the first floor, look to collect as many shield resonance as possible. Out of all the shield resonance, there are 3 pieces you are looking for specifically. Technical Mask will give you a shield for 5 seconds after a perfect dodge. Elastic Kneecap will give you a shield for 10 seconds after using a special. And War Boss, which will grant you a shield every time you kill an enemy. If you can get 4 shield resonance, you will also get technical rucksack. On top of giving you 35% damage bonus when shielded, this will also prevent enemy dealing damage past your shield once every 12 seconds. With this and constant shield generation from the other 3 resonance, you will now be punished for significantly less every time you make a mistake. I also found the dodge set extremely helpful for difficulty 11, even though I wouldn't pick it up as the raid up. There is a extremely powerful resonance within the dodge set that you should look for every chance you get. That is the Shuttlecock. This resonance specifically puts you in a time pause after triggering perfect dodge. This is basically a 4-second free DPS window with a 10-second cooldown, as enemy in this difficulty will not stop attacking. Outside of the normal resonance, we also have the Bumble resonance. The one you should absolutely look for if possible, even if you have to reset a couple times for, is the Paper Bull. Paper Bull's active skill is a taunt. This taunt is very useful and takes a lot of pressure off your back, including when you are fighting the final boss. And there are 2 special events that I want to also mention specifically here. Since we did pick up the Gear Coin research, if you go into the research event, you will be asked to either give up all your Gear Coin for 50% reduction on shop price, or double your Gear Coin but increase the shop price by 50%. If you can half the price of your shop starting at the first floor, you pretty much can max out all the shops later. The other event is the Negative Resonance. They're all extremely powerful resonance, but will give you negative effect instead until it's fixed. If you can get the pitch dark cape in the first floor, it's gonna make the run a lot easier once it's fixed. Reducing pressure increased by 100%, which means you will no longer gain pressure most of the times. Talking about pressure, I personally find Weekend to be the worst possible corruption you can get. In fact, this makes the game almost unplayable. Hoyoverse, please just remove this from the game forever. Like, it's not fun. Alright, now for the bosses, there is mainly one thing I want to talk about. For the first boss, once the main boss drops to 50%, another elite will spawn. For the second boss, both will spawn at the same time. It's best to get rid of the elite enemy as soon as possible, as they're significantly easier to daze and have less HP. Usually one rotation should be enough to take them down. Once you made it past the boss and into the resting place, there are 3 things to know. First, you will be asked to take a risk factor. This will happen once every floor, and the negative effect you didn't pick up in the previous floor will be upgraded and show up in the next one. Something important to know is that you can skip one risk factor by not taking the reward. And I recommend skipping the third one. If you have skipped the last one, take Gear Coin risk factor for the first floor and then health on the second one. If you're not skipping, then go with 1 corruption for the first floor, 40% health for second floor, and 99% Gear Coin for the third floor. It's unlikely for you to able to clear the first boss phase S rank, especially considering we are stacking shield resonance first, but the good news is the S rank reward gate can be blown open with your bomb, so you will still have access to the reward if you want. As for the bank, this is one place where you should be looking for withdrawal instead of depositing. Now with all the resonum and the exploration tips I have out of the way, let's look at the final boss of Withering Garden. For the most part, the boss is pretty simple. There are two attacks you should watch out for. If the boss tiles start to glow and charge up, it's about to spit in a very large area. Either move away preemptively or prepare to dodge. And if the boss starts dancing and fly up, it will do a large AoE while summoning tons of projectiles. Also prepare to either dodge or move out of the way. Whenever boss spawns mobs, always try to take care of them first. They're extremely annoying and will shoot projectile at you, but more importantly, they will steal your lock song when you lose it on the boss during some of his moves. The boss have two special moves that you cannot attack it during those phases. After you dealt some damage to the boss, it will move to the center of the room and begin charging up. Make sure to go behind the barrier where you can't see the ticking damage on you anymore. If you're touched by the final explosion, it's an insta-kill. While the barrier will knock you down when it explodes, it does no damage, so don't worry about it too much. And the second big move happens when the boss is close to dying. During this phase, the boss will summon a bunch of tentacles and mobs and throw out tons of projectiles in waves. This phase is extremely difficult. But here are some tips I have learned from my max corruption run. First off, do not just dodge, because it's going to be go on cooldown and you will get hit. Instead, every time you do a perfect dodge, turn it into a dodge counter. You should abuse every single thing that gave you invincibility during this phase. Dodge counters, EX specials, quick assist, even ultimate and chain attacks. It doesn't matter what you use, because once you get past this phase, the rest is very easy. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about Withering Garden. Hopefully, with this video, you'll find it much easier to make decisions through your runs and also defeating the boss. As always, this has been SteamButNext. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.